Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Today we will discuss about a cobweb model of labor market adjustment. This topic is an extension of the human capital chapter. The labor market is also subject to boom and bust of the economic cycle, especially for the highly technical workers or highly qualified workers. And the boom and bust of those types of workers happen due to the failure of supply to respond immediately to changes in labor market conditions. So the cobweb model in this context will be used in order to understand how the adjustment in the labor market would take place. This model in particular will give us one perspective of how we can make an economic analysis to understand certain types of economic phenomena, such as, in our case, the adjustment in the labor market itself. So usually what happens in the labor market is that certain types of professions, such as medical doctor, accountants, engineers, and so on, whenever there is high demand for those professions, the supply of those workers are slow to adjust to meet the demand because it takes a long time for us to produce those qualified human capital. So what happens is that the immediate market period, that is at the moment, the supply of those types of professions, let's say engineers, would appear to be particularly inelastic until more people decide to enter into those fields or professions. When we say the supply is inelastic, it is shown by a vertical supply curve. And this is true in the short run, where in the short run, the supply of engineers, in our case here, is fixed. It takes time for us to produce engineers. In order to understand the cobweb model, let's look at this diagram. So here we have the common supply and demand for workers. Let's say we can talk about the supply of engineers in the economy, and D0 is the original demand curve. So this point is our original equilibrium point. Now let's assume there is a shock in the demand for engineers in the economy. For example, maybe because of certain industrial policy announced by the government, now the economy needs more engineers. As a consequence of that, the demand for engineers shift to the right. So now we have a shift in the demand for engineers from D0 to D1. And the obvious change here is that there is now a new equilibrium point indicated by the following point. What is clear in this case is that the wage for engineers now has gone up from W0 to W star. So that's the effect of the change in the demand. So now the economy needs more engineers, as shown by N0 to N star here. Because it takes a long time for the economy to produce engineers to meet the high demand at the moment, the number of engineers available at the moment is N0. So if you look at this diagram, N0 is here, and therefore this vertical dotted line indicates the short-run supply of engineers at that moment. If you like, I can draw this diagram to show the short-run supply. Let's say this is the supply for the short run. So this is the short-run supply of engineers at the moment. And what we find here is that there is another equilibrium point here. And at this equilibrium point, we find that the number of engineers is at N0. However, due to the new rise in the demand for more engineers, shown by D1, we have a new equilibrium point, and here we find the wage rate for engineers at the moment has gone up further. So here we find that because of the shift in the demand for engineers, the wage rate has gone up from W0 to W1. much higher than the following equilibrium point, which will take place in the long run. So what we can say here is that the currently available engineers N0 can obtain a wage of W1, which is above the new long-term equilibrium wage of W star. And also, it will take a while before equilibrium employment is established at N star. So this is the initial stage for us to understand how the Cobb-Webb model will explain this phenomenon. We continue to this slide. With the shift in the demand from D0 to D1, the number of engineers currently at N0 can obtain a wage of W1, as explained before. If people are myopic in forming their expectations, they will assume that W1 to be the equilibrium wage rate. Therefore, N1 people will enter the engineering field or school, and when the N1 quantity of engineers graduate, there will be surplus engineers at W1. So to explain what's going on here, going back to our diagram, remember this is our short run supply of labor, and here we have W1. Due to higher wage rate at W1, and assuming that people are forming myopic expectation, that is, they look at W1 to be the equilibrium wage rate, and because W1 is much higher than W0, many people will join the engineering school. It takes time for these people to graduate, let's say 4 years. By the time they graduated, what will happen is we will have at W1, the supply now move to the following supply line. Another short run supply, but this short run supply takes place, let's say after 4 years. So this is the first short run supply. Let's say this is the first short run supply. And now after 4 years, we have the following short run supply where we have now N1 number of engineers in the economy. Notice that at this new short run supply of engineers, we have the following equilibrium point because this short run supply intersect with the demand for engineers here at this point. And at this point, we will find that the wage rate then will be given by W2. And here we find that W2 is much lower than W star. W2 is no longer an attractive wage rate for people to join the engineering schools. And because of that, the intake by many engineering schools for that particular period starts to decline. And after certain years, we will have another supply of engineers coming, but this time it is much lesser, shown by the following short run supply curve. This line, where after another period, after another cycle of graduation, we will find that we only have about N2 quantity of engineers produced by the economy. And at this N2 level of engineers, we will get to this new equilibrium point here. And notice the wage rate now is given by W3. W3 is now much higher than W star. And what happens for this round is that many people would find W3 is an attractive wage for engineers. Then many people will enroll into engineering school, and after certain period, they graduated. And at this W3 level, after 4 years, this is another round of supply of engineers coming to the economy. But again, now we will have more engineers produced, more by this amount shown by N3. And at N3, now we will have the following equilibrium point. I hope now you see the idea of this Cobb-Webb model. This process will continue up until the Cobb-Webb gets smaller and smaller until it gets to the long-run equilibrium point established earlier. That is, in the long run, we will have n star quantity of engineers, and the wage rate, the long-run wage rate is given by W star wage rate. So what we will find here, because the shape of this cycle is like a cobweb, so this model is known as a cobweb model of the labor market. So cobweb model is used in this case in order to show the boom and bust of the workers in the economy, such as engineers in our example. This model also can be applied to understand the supply of certain commodities in agriculture. One important point that we make about the cobweb model here is we assume that people form a myopic expectation. Myopic is a form of eyesight problem where people only see one thing, and here we say that they see W star to be the equilibrium wage in the long run. Given the cobweb adjustment of wages in the labor market, how workers form expectations about future wages is important in understanding many labor market issues. There are many types of expectation that we can assume in economics. Adaptive expectation is the form of expectation where, in this case, the adaptive expectation hypothesis assumes that people form their expectations of the future, or they predict the future based on current and past life experiences. In the case of the labor market, for which we may use, for example, weighted average of current and past wages in forming the adaptive expectation. Forecasting future wages in the labor market using the adaptive expectation may lead workers to first overpredict and then underpredict the equilibrium wages, since workers are extremely short-sighted and make errors in their predictions. So the consequence of adaptive expectation is the possibility of overpredict or underpredict the level of the wage rate. This is one form of expectation. The following is another form of expectation, and usually this is the most common type of assumption we make, where we will assume that the economic agents are rational agents and therefore they will form a rational expectation. The rational expectations hypothesis or theory assumes that workers will use all available information, we assume perfect information, in forming their expectations or prediction about the future. Rational expectation assumes that workers will not be fooled into over-predicting or under-predicting future wage levels. The rational expectation hypothesis assumes that if there are errors in expectations, there would be random errors and not based on the available information. And one important lesson from the cobweb model is that when we say that individuals or people are forming a myopic view about the market, this myopic view or myopic expectation is the adaptive expectations hypothesis. And because of that adaptive expectations, they tend to overpredict or underpredict the level of the wage rate, as shown by the cobweb model earlier. So in economics, we always assume that the economic agents are rational human beings and they form a rational expectations hypothesis. And for this assumption, we also will consider that the economic agents have a complete information to form these expectations, which is a flawed assumption, by the way. One thing about the cobweb model is that it provides us with one analysis to understand the boom and bust cycle in the labor market. So inshallah, I'll see you again next time. Thank you. Wassalam.